Hello, everyone. Akwaba, Karibu, and a very warm welcome to this very exciting moment, the official launch of Herp Ghana's next chapter. I'm Salisha, joining you today from Maliasili, where our mission is to help outstanding local organizations like Herp Ghana to thrive, grow, and amplify their impact. We do this by strengthening local organizations, enhancing leadership capacity, and supporting fundraising so that more resources get to the right people and places, driving greater impact for conservation and communities across Africa. We are absolutely thrilled to have you here with us today to celebrate and learn from this incredible organization. I first heard of Herp Ghana sort of back in 2014, well before my time at Maliasili, when a colleague returned from a Future for Nature Awards event raving about this guy Caleb in Ghana working on amphibians and pioneering conservation efforts. That really left a mark. Fast forward almost a decade to 2023, when I finally had my first direct interaction with the Herp Ghana team and got a true glimpse of their work and their achievements. It was so clear this is a team with deep passion, with purpose and potential. And we could see how Maliasili's support might be helpful, how we could be useful to help them reach even greater heights. Many of you probably already know parts of their story, how they've blended science, conservation, community engagement to protect Ghana's unique and often overlooked reptiles and amphibians, how they're driven by a mission to weave conservation into everyday life of communities. Today, we get to dive deeper into what's next, this brand new chapter. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to hand over to Caleb, who will take us back to where it all began and walk us through the journey that led to this moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shalisha, for these kind words. And thank you, everyone, for participating in this webinar. It is very exciting that sometime back, now it feels like yesterday, but it's like 20 years ago that I became aware for the very first time reading Simon Stewart's book on the global amphibian extinction. I was just a young undergraduate student, just graduated. And I became aware for the very first time that amphibians were going through a mass global extinction crisis. I just couldn't believe it. It's like, wow, all these species are being lost and nothing is being done about it. And I felt like this is something that should be in the news. This is something that everybody should be talking about. But I soon realized that I was the only one who felt like this. And that's how I knew that I needed to do something to save this species from extinction. And I've had my own personal stories and many experiences that have broken my heart over the years, which meant that I was specifically very concerned about things that cannot be replaced. You might have heard the story about how I lost my father when I was very young and how I felt that if I made billions of money, I could fund some kind of crazy research to bring him back, only to realize that I was just being very stupid. But then it has just made me just so concerned about things that when you lose it, you cannot have it back. And hearing about the fact that these wonderful creatures were going through an extinction crisis and nothing was being done, I knew that I had to act. And so I started what seems to be a very lonely journey for many years, working to improve knowledge on amphibian species in Ghana and to work towards their conservation. But now when I look back, I think that it's really been a privilege that was handed over to me for me to be able to do something to help this magnificent species. And here I must be very quick to thank so many people who joined the course, who were crazy enough to come along that journey with me. And I want to thank people like Prosper Mp, now working with Arosha, David Amani Kwatin, Philip Duffier, for the many crazy times that we spend in the field chasing frogs and looking at all these beautiful creatures. Now, along the line, we realized that we needed to do something beyond doing the research, just, trying to improve knowledge on the species, because the species are threatening, and you publish the study and nothing is being done about it. So we decided to act, and we decided to take action. And so many people, fortunately, joined the course with us. But that has said, it was a privilege, because when I look back at some of the things that we've been able to achieve together as a team, it's just unbelievable. And here I'll just say a few things. For example, the discovery of so many new species to science. It's really a privilege, truly a privilege. The feeling that you get when you hold a species in your hands that nobody has ever, seen before, a species that is completely new to science, is just unbelievable. And I see that as a privilege that as a team, as an organization, we've been able to contribute 4 of such new species to science. I also am very privileged in a way that we also got lots of students and local communities to buy into this so-called crazy idea, and to be able to carry the message also to their friends and to their family. Next slide, please. So as an organization, one of the projects that we are particularly very excited about was the project about the Togo slippery frog. This species was believed to be extinct for many years, and we're very privileged to have had the opportunity to discover it. And we realized that it was going through lots of threats, including being consumed by the local people for food. The forest was being cut down, and there were just very small population, under 100 of them in this local community forest. And we went there with all that we had was a desire and a passion, talked to the local people, and fortunately they bought in. And it's amazing to think of it that we have several hundreds of local people who are now volunteers who go about in their communities talking to people about the need to save frogs and to protect the biodiversity. One of the things that we've also been able to achieve as a team has also been the protection, the establishment of a forest reserve, which we call the Oniponi Endangered Species Refuge, which protects the last remaining population of this species, and being able to develop some kind of ecotourism infrastructure that has truly shaped what is happening in these local communities. So we established, for example, the Mesope Canopy Walkway. And this walkway that is just built around a frog's habitat, the waterfall, a canopy walkway, has attracted thousands of people into this small community, helping improve the livelihoods of these communities, but also giving us a very unique opportunity to educate over 50,000 people who come to these facilities to experience the frog, and also to experience the amazing Togo slippery frog that we have in this community. So it's been a very good journey, and at this point, I really want to say a very big thank you for the many partners who are on this call, because there were many times that it felt very lonely, and your support here and there enabled us to be able to encourage ourselves and then to get back to doing what we do. So thank you very much for all your support. And I'm going to have to pass it now to my colleague, Francis, who is going to talk to us about the strategy. And the strategy, because we feel that to be able to continue to play this role and to be able to replicate the success that we've had in the various communities that we work with in Ghana, we need to be a better organization. We need to be able to streamline, mainstream some of the things that we do, and we need to replicate our success across the whole country. And so this strategic plan will help us do that. So I'm going to pass it over to Francis, and Francis is going to take us through the strategic plan. Thank you very much. Francis, you're muted.
Thank you, Caleb, for sharing Herp Ghana's remarkable history and achievements with everyone. Once again, thank you all for joining this call. Herp Ghana, we have made great progress in our work, but the threats to amphibians and reptiles in Ghana are still severe, pushing many species towards extinction. And that's why we need to do more, not just in the areas we are already working, but also in new areas we want to work where conservation is ultimately and urgently needed. This need drives the development of our 5-year strategic plan, setting clear goals. And next slide. The goal 1 talks about more communities living in Ghana's key amphibian and reptile habitats and integrate conservation in their decision making. So basically what goal 1 means is that we want to ensure that the communities that live in priority amphibian habitats have fully integrated conservation in their day-to-day decision making. In other words, we need communities to not just be aware, but to think conservation on a daily basis, where it becomes one of the key considerations they make in their day-to-day decision making. And this is currently not the norm in Ghana. People are thinking about how they will increase their revenue, how they will make new farms, how they will see more produce, and how they will build their houses. But we want to be so impactful in our conservation outreach and behavior change programs to the extent that the individual people within the communities make their decisions using a conservation lens and also make their decisions considering its conservation outcomes. For example, if somebody drives a car and sees a frog, he will think, should I run over it or should I not run over it? And because conservation is so key in this decision making, this person will make the right decision and not to run over it. Or if a person needs to spray a frog with a chemical, or he needs to dig for gold near a water body, there will be something in him based on the knowledge and information that he has that tells him that this is not right without military or police presence or anything, but it becomes part of how they think and make their decisions in a way that considers conservation, in a way that considers species survival in the ecosystem. And this cultural shift is essential for Ghana's conservation future. And our 5-year strategic plan is designed to make this a reality. Next slide. So our next goal is improved protection of Ghana's endemic and endangered amphibian and reptiles and their habitats. And here, we, as Herp Ghana, like Caleb said, we have, Herp Ghana has discovered new amphibian species, and we are still discovering new amphibian species. But their habitats have been depleted at an alarming rate. For example, activities like mining in forest reserves and off-reserves areas and illegal small-scale mining activities, popularly known as galamsey, that is happening at such a rate that is unprecedented in Ghana's history. And at the current rate of forest loss and degradation, many already threatened amphibian species could face even greater risks, while species that are currently not threatened may become threatened. And that is why we need to expand our model, our successful community managed protected area and restoration models to new landscapes, focusing on priority amphibians. So far, we have successfully worked with a few communities to protect and restore the habitat of the Togo slippery frog. However, that is just one species. In our new strategic plan, we aim to scale up our efforts, working with multiple communities across different landscapes to secure and restore habitats for other priority amphibians and other species in Ghana. Next slide. So our next goal, which is our goal 3, is pro biodiversity livelihoods become the norm. And here, in doing so, we are saying that pro biodiversity basically refers to income-generating activities that actively support biodiversity conservation whilst providing economic benefits to local communities. And so we want to develop nature-friendly economic opportunities through ecotourism, agroforestry, and other sustainable jobs that target the reduction of illegal activities. One of the main reasons by which our forest is being destroyed is because people say that they don't have livelihood options. They don't have jobs. So they have to do whatever it takes to be able to make some money and take care of their families. And what we hope to do is that we develop alternative livelihoods that are nature-friendly within the priority areas in which we plan to conduct our work. And the idea is that these options will be utilized as opposed to relying on illegal activities for livelihoods. And this we have successfully made progress with initiatives like the development of the Amazope Canopy Walkway, which has improved local livelihoods while promoting conservation. And moving forward, we hope to expand such initiatives and develop more in the other areas that we will go to. Next slide. So our last goal, which is our goal 4, talks about Herp Conservation Ghana being a well-structured and well-resourced in order to achieve our mission. And so we have positively influenced the mindsets of local communities, provided them with viable, sustainable alternatives to legal activities. And now engaging in harmful practices is no longer their only option. They have a better choice. With the knowledge they have gained, we hope they will consistently choose the right path to ensure long-term success. And so we need an organization capable of bringing these initiatives to life. And this leads us to a key question: what does the Herp Ghana team need to look like? And what resources must we assess to achieve our goals? Our final objective, which is to build a well-structured, well-resourced organization. This means strengthening our core management functions, enhancing organizational development, securing sustainable funding, cultivating the next generation of leaders, and expanding our team's capacity and expertise. Next slide. And so by focusing on these key specialized areas of work, we believe that conservation will become a way of life for all local Ghanaian communities in the same way that it has for the local communities living around the Oneponi endangered species refuge. Thank you. So I'll hand over to my colleague, Kevin, to take over.
Thank you, Francis. Good afternoon, everyone. It is really an honor to stand before everyone today as we launch not just a strategic plan, but a renewed vision for Herp Conservation Ghana, a chapter filled with fresh energy, a stronger commitment, and bold vision for the future. Our brand is more than just a logo or a tagline. It is actually a reflection of who we are and what we stand for, and the change that we seek to create. Our new brand strengthens this message, and we are so excited to roll it out to everyone. At Herp Conservation Ghana, we believe in a future where people and nature thrive together. Conservation is not just about saving species, it is about empowering communities and restoring habitats, and ensuring that future generations inherit a world where biodiversity is rich. This brand that we are presenting to you today reflects our voice, which is the very heartbeat of this organization. It is how we connect, inspire, and drive action. Our logo represents a symbol of our identity. When you look at our logo there, these are not just colors. It stands for more than an organization. It represents a movement where conservation is science-driven and where local voices lead the way. As we step into a new phase, our core values remain unchanged. They are simply made clearer and more accessible to everyone. This new brand that we are showing to you guys today shows that we are confident, and in that we are rooted in science. Our message is clear and credible, reflecting our leadership in amphibian and reptile conservation in this part of the world. This new brand shows that we put communities first. We believe that conservation should benefit people as well. This new brand that we are presenting to you today shows that we are inspiring and inclusive. We speak with hope and optimism, empowering communities and global audiences to join us in building a sustainable future. That is to say that we welcome everyone to be part of this journey. This new brand shows that we believe in sustainability for the future. We know that conservation is a long-term commitment. Protecting biodiversity now, it will ensure that future generations also benefit from it. This new brand is not just about an organization, it belongs to all of us, to our team, to our partners, to our supporters, and every person who believes in a future where people and nature thrive together. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I'll give it back to Caleb to give us the closing remarks.
Just before then, I would pass it to one of our long-standing partners to say a few words. If Prayer of Synchronicity Earth is here,
Hi.
I would pass it to you now. Thank you.
Thanks, Caleb. Yeah, thank you, Caleb, for inviting me to speak. And I, first of all, just want to congratulate the entire Herp Ghana team and Malia Silly for such a great launch and such a great new strategic plan. I am so excited to see the next 5 years. When Caleb asked me to speak today, he asked me to think about what makes Herp Ghana unique. And of course, my mind immediately bubbled over with all of the amazing things I've learned about this team over the last 5 years of partnership. But that would have taken a lot longer than the 5 minutes I've got to get through. So I've tried to really think about what it boiled down to for me. And I think for me, what I find really unique about Herp Ghana is their absolute skill at bridge building. And that is literally at their canopy walkway, which is an incredible achievement, but also between ways of thinking, sectors, and people. There's a really common misconception that amphibians and reptiles, which are beautiful, unique, fascinating creatures, are always going to be a niche conservation issue. And they're often excluded from biodiversity goals. They're viewed as separate from the communities they live near, from the ecosystems they're intrinsic to. And I really love to see how Herp Ghana has and continues to really proudly champion and celebrate the intrinsic value of these species and brings them to the front of their conservation initiatives. I love that. I mean, it's literally in the name, which I love. But it's more than that, because they've also shown that celebrating amphibians and reptiles can sit not just alongside, but be a central part of community sustainable development and wider conservation issues, with herpetological species can act as flagships, protecting whole ecosystems and the well-being of whole communities, which is really inspiring. And I think Herp Ghana have really shown conclusively how that connection can be made effectively. They've also shown how research and conservation work hand in hand. I often speak to a lot of other donors about the need to bridge the gap between research and conservation. And I think there are very few organizations that do that as effectively as Herp Ghana does. You can feel the confidence in their team, their skill and the data, but also in how they deploy them, and understanding of local context and needs, and having a foot in both spheres, the research world and in local communities. And that link means that they can then link fundamental ecological research with community-focused holistic conservation in a way that is very rarely seen. So I think it's fair to say I'm very excited by what's been done. So I'm excited for what's going to come in the future as well. The scale, the ambition, the confidence of the strategic plan is fantastic. But I'm also really pleased to see that connection between species conservation and community conservation governance has been placed so centrally in the strategic plan. And it recognises Herp Ghana's strength in building those connections between different sectors and people that on the surface might have different priorities. I do believe that is the future of conservation generally, and that Herp Ghana will be leading the way as an example for this approach. So I'm really excited to see that develop and how clearly that intention is expressed. Also, very, very pleased to see taking the time and space to build Herp Ghana itself and its resilience. I think as a sector, we can really overlook how vital it is that the people and organisations doing the work that we're excited by are also well supported and secure. And Herp Ghana has done so much in the past thanks to goodwill, passion and dedication from its team. So I'm really excited to see them invest in themselves, to see what they can ultimately reach even greater gains for people, amphibians and reptiles in the near future. So thank you to the team. It's wonderful to see.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Going to pass it to Shalisha to coordinate the Q&A session. Thank you.
Thanks, Caleb. Yeah, we've got a few questions coming through, and it would, as we look at all the support that Herp Ghana has had over the years, and all of these people who have made it possible, we're really grateful. Madasi, as you guys say. And so there's 3 questions that have come through already. One question that came through was, to the team, this is a great plan. This is a great strategic plan, and there's so much new stuff in there. What is the most exciting thing for you in the strategic plan? And maybe we can hear from Abby. Is Abby here and willing to share?
I'm not sure she's online.
Okay, I saw her come in earlier. Okay, in that case, Emanuela, I wanted to just have a lady's voice because there are ladies on this team.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so it's raining where I am, so maybe if you hear any kind of noise, it's the rain. I think, yeah, I'm excited about the whole thing because it's like now we have a focus, we know where we are going, so we are working towards that. And especially looking at our logo, we've changed everything, but our value has not changed. Our value is still the same, and even I would say that the value is the same and more. So I think that with all that we are doing, can you hear me?
We can
Yes,
hear
we
you,
can,
Ella.
we can hear you, Manuela.
Okay, yeah. So the fact that we have these plans together and we know what to do, what steps to take, and we have Melia Siri on our side and other partners who are supporting us to get to the goals that we set before us. It's amazing. And we as a team, of course, we are also going to do our best to make sure we get to our the points that we set or the goal that we set before us. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Ella. Then there was a question from Priya around, what are sort of the next priority areas within the Onepone? Was it within the Onepone, Priya, or beyond the Onepone?
If there's a beyond the Onepone, that would be great to hear as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Caleb, you can take this one.
Yeah, a simple answer to that would be that wherever the frogs takes us. Wherever the frogs takes us, that's where we go. We already have some solid plans. Within the Onepone, we've been invited to many communities that wants us to work with them using the similar model. So we have plans for that. We also already have plans for the Ankasa area, Ankasa Conservation Landscape, again, where we have an endemic frog species, and we're going to make it great. We're going to make Ankasa great for conservation. We're going to spotlight the frog. We're going to make communities very happy, and we're going to help the Wildlife Division do a very great job in the Ankasa landscape. And then we also have immediate plans within the 5 years to work within the Atewa landscape, and we're going to do something different. We always do something different. So the fight has always been on the mining, etc., trying to stop the government from doing a bauxite mine. And we are part of their coalition. We're going to continue to fight that fight, but importantly, we're going to develop an alternative model on private forest lands around the reserve to show the government or to shame the government that he should and could do better. So these are some of the few things, but as I said, we're finding new species, and wherever we are needed, that's where we're going to go. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Caleb. Another question that has come in from Demia, from PPE, is around sort of thinking about the systems, right? And he said it's great that the focus is on species and these microhabitats, but there are things that are happening at the national level. Agricultural policies, mining that you've also seen at Atewa, road infrastructure that affect your sites, right? The places that you've just mentioned. The strategy doesn't, he's saying the strategy doesn't specifically mention watching out on these subjects. Does this mean that you're not going to try and have an influence on this? And Kelvin, I see you're smiling, so I'm going to ask you to please share what your thoughts are on that. And maybe Tony as well, Kelvin and Tony.
Yes. So I think it is already we are already working on that. We have a captive breeding program that we are running right now for the Konahara Sejibasi. And for now, we are building capacity. We want to be ready. We want to be ready when the time comes when they actually or do dig a tiwa. So it's not clearly captured in the strategic plan, but it's an underlying program that we are doing. And I think maybe we can work around fixing it there or something, but we are really in that space and then we are working there. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And Shalisha, if I might add my voice also to it, another thing, remember when we're developing the strategic plan, we knew that there were so many things that we can do or wanted to do, but there's as much as we can do. This is the area that we find our greatest strength and experience to make an influence. And that's why we are focusing in this area. For these other areas, we decided as a team that we would partner with other organizations who have strength in this area and support them to make a bigger impact. So yes, we know about this, but that's the plan. That's the plan. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I wouldn't, I couldn't have said it better. Strategy is about choices and thinking about what you're good at and how do you make the best of that and in the efforts that you want towards your vision, and where do you need to partner with people who might be supportive of that. I would also add to what Caleb and Kelvin have shared that Damian, they're really thinking about a threat monitoring system around these key habitats, and therefore being able to be proactive about certain things like this, right? And so it's not just like, oh, this is already happening and we need to react, but we're going to be proactive about that and partner with the right folks. Yeah, I think, Damian, you had another question. Yes, I haven't seen anyone else raise their hand. So the other question you had was, frogs are relatively well liked by humans, but that may not be the case with other reptiles like snakes. Although, I guess there's differences there. Do you have a specific approach to work towards a better cohabitation with them? Yeah, I know this is something that is very close to Caleb's heart, but I don't know if Francis, maybe you want to give it a shot before we have Caleb add his thoughts. What are your thoughts about the reptiles and the other overlooked species? Is Francis still there? Or maybe Tony? We haven't heard from Tony. Tony, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, please join me.
Okay. So I'll say a little about that. As Caleb said, when we were developing the strategic plan, there were a lot that we wanted to do, but then we came to a concession of then focusing on what our strengths are and what we can really do on grounds to help the conservation of amphibians. So in a bigger aspect, conserving reptiles and even other species are also important. So we focusing on what we are going to do now will help us to conserve those species in a long run. Thank you very much.
And Damian, great to see you, by the way. Yeah, we do. Thank you so much, Tony. Yeah, I understand that we will do more for reptiles as part of this strategy. Definitely, we have plans to build. It's something that is already in the pipeline with the Forestry Research Institute to develop like a city, like estuary, riverbank area that has an endangered crocodile, etc., just as like kind of flagship reptile project where we can bring students and get them to, fall in love with reptiles and all that. So we're definitely going to do more for reptiles as part of this strategy as well.
Yeah, thanks so much, Caleb. And I think that was something very dear to your heart. Yes.
Yes,
sorry.
usually yeah, it's
Yes.
Emanuela. Sorry.
Yes, please add. Please add.
When the king speaks, usually you're not supposed to speak again, but permit me, Caleb, to just add. So I'm saying, looking at what we are doing right now, if you look at it, we are protecting these amphibians and their habitat. And we know that these, most of the time, these amphibians and reptiles, they have the same ecosystem or the same place that they live. So indirectly, maybe now we are not speaking boldly about it, but we are still working for them, because when the environment, the ecosystem, the habitat is protected, then they are also in there. People don't go in there to just kill. There is there, people will not just go in there, bunch in there to kill if there's a snake or whatever. So I think maybe we are not speaking boldly about it, but still we are strongly working for, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, well said, Ella. Thank you for adding that. We've got 2 more questions in the chat. The next one is from Anna. Hi, she would love to hear the feedback on the process of developing the strategic plan. How did you find that? Was there something surprising that you learned about yourselves as an organization? And maybe if Charles is here, Charles, could you come in? No? Okay, if maybe Mark, how about the board member? Mark, why don't you join us and
Yes,
talk about the process and what you
yes. Like I said at the tail of the strategic plan process, I told you this was one that I've been in a number of them, but this one was so practical that at the end you had no option but to own the whole document. So when I walked away, I had a lot of what the outcome was going to be in my head already. And that sense of ownership that you created by your strategy, and I've learned a lot from it. And I believe I'll bully a few people when I get opportunity in another corporate environment to deal with this matter. But I think the approach was just good. And the other thing was, even before you came in, I was also surprised how much people knew about Herp, what Herp was doing, and the information you had gathered. So I then started asking, is that much information about Herp already out in the world or what? Because you have done a lot of studies on it and you could tell us a lot. Even people in my job and other places you spoke to, it's like they knew more than I thought. I thought Herp Ghana was just at the corner and a very small thing, but that alone was also very encouraging that even outside the NGO, you were able to get a lot of information already about the organization, which was also good. So the two about what I'll say for now. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, I don't know if any of the team wants to add anything to that around what did you learn about yourselves? No? Okay. We have a question from Julie. She says, your approach is very innovative, especially the conservation evangelism approach. Do you directly involve religious leaders in awareness raising efforts? Yeah. Francis, if you're there, otherwise, Caleb, please help answer.
Francis? Okay. Well, Francis may jump in, but we did in the past when we started and when we wanted to build that credibility that, people respected their religious leaders. And we were part of initiatives that trained religious leaders, imams, etc., interfaith-based workshops to help them to be able to incorporate conservation into their sermons, etc. But now we don't do that often because now we have a lot of volunteers, a lot of local volunteers, hundreds of them who are young and happy, energetic, and they're happy to not just go and preach about conservation, but to also dance with the people and interact and have fellowship. And I think it's been even more effective. So that's what we do mostly now.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, any more questions? I have one question, and it's to the team. In terms of your sort of this new chapter and where you're heading next, right? What is it that you need the most from the external world to make your dream a reality?
We need money, of course, Shalisha. I'm sure we need more than that, but essentially we have, maybe Mark and other people can add to it. Essentially, we have a very strong team, and with a partnership with Malia Asili, it's become very clear to us how the organization needs to look like, who else we need to bring onto the team, and we know that once we have that kind of team, we will be able to deliver on the goals of the strategy plan. And the purpose, once realized, is exciting. We can do that, obviously, but it comes to funding. Basically, if we have all the funding that we need, we will certainly deliver on the promise of the strategic plan. Definitely, I have no doubt about that. But that's from where I sit. I don't know what the other team members think, or Mark or anybody else.
Well, if I may add, of course, money is the foundation. We can't do much without money in this cash levels. We also have to get people to help us improve the communication bit, and also to make sure that the concept is communicated across. As somebody was talking about living with the frogs and snakes, it took me several years to realize that not all snakes have venom or were poisonous, and that, as a matter of fact, most of the pythons, you could just hold them. It took me several years to get to know that. And so a lot of education, it boils down to money, but not money in that quantum, but something that can lead to spread the message. And I think we need the world to help us to also spread the message. It may not take too much money, but then the message will go out and ultimately will help people to, as it were, be part of this. And as you speak, just recently I went to a meeting and said, "Oh, I remember Mark used to tell us a lot about wild animals and his cell life conservation. So is there more? Is there any new thing? Is there any new animals?" And I took the opportunity to tell all of them after an AGM that there are these frogs which are of importance. And then I met somebody who works with the Joy FM, who went the weekend to visit them at Jope, and they're so excited. So when I told them, oh, I knew about it, they were surprised. But of course, over the past week, because of that visit to Volta region, Joy FM has more than advertised help to the extent that to the extent that everybody probably in Ghana now wants to visit the place. And that came at no cost. It's just because they were going to visit that media house. So we need collaborations of this nature in addition to getting the money. That's what I would say. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. It takes it all, right? There's one final question, I think, from Marina. Which types of challenges do you still face today to implement your activities, and how do you solve them? And maybe Augustine, I saw you, OT, I saw you in the chat, and we haven't heard from you, so maybe you could share. Which types of challenges do you still face today to implement your activities? So thinking about Amajofe, and how do you solve them?
Yeah, thank you very much, Alicia. I think the major challenge we face has to do with alternative livelihood activities. I think communities giving their lands out and everything, yes, they are happy to do that. But of course, it also means we are, in a way, using their livelihoods. And so I think we also need to provide more livelihoods to the communities so that you still work in the environment. Because once you give them an alternative, then they can support your ideas fully. But once there are no alternatives, then they don't know what to start, whether to come in or opt out of the conservation idea. So we need to provide the communities with more livelihood activities here.
Yeah, thanks, Augustine. I think yeah, if there's no more questions, Caleb, I'd love to hand over to you to wrap this up for us.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I've seen some amazing friends and partners on the call today, and many more people who are promised to look at the recording. If I can have the thank you slide again, I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you in the sense that we've been able to come this far only because of your help, only because of your support. There are many, many, many names that I cannot mention here, and many, many, many partners that gave us more or gave us a little. But that little came at such a crucial time that it spurred us on, it encouraged us to be able to get to the next, cross the bridge and get to the next level. And there are many partners that also came in, like Malia Sealy has come, that help us, to set up a better accounting system or to do this. And that has all helped us to be the resilient organization that we are today, to be able to think about going into the future and implementing this bold strategic plan. So I just wanted to use this opportunity to say a very heartfelt thank you to each and every one of you for how you have loved us and how you have supported us and how you have given to us. We don't take it for granted, and we feel a sense of responsibility as a result of that. And finally, I also want to thank the incredible team present and past that I've had the privilege to work with. It's unbelievable. Yesterday, somewhere around midnight, Kelvin and Charles and Co were deep in the Atiwa forest, looking for frogs, looking for tadpoles, trying to rescue some tadpoles and bring them to the lab. And they got here at dawn, make sure the tadpoles were safe. This morning, he's here with me driving to Accra. It's just an incredible team. They gave like 150%. And it's just been an honor to work with all of you guys. So thank you very much. And thank you everyone for making time to be on this call.
Yeah, thank you so much. So as we close today, I just want to echo what Caleb said. Asante sana, as we say in Kenya, medasi. Thank you all for being here, for supporting Herp Ghana, and for being part of this super important moment in their next chapter. Your presence today is a real reflection of the incredible community behind this work. And we're so glad that you're on this journey together with us. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you too.
Infitiasie onyame bonkwa obonsuo ena obosika bebunkwa pesika de emusio yama asasi atineni munisio eno baye bebuswa eyensio Ghana ye wazoye koshetiwa debewuda yame na bozi ye fa wama yamba hubonoye na bayen shira mayen na Ghana baya kabashe etiwa hotile eternity Obi aramana beshebi Viva Yesu, viva Densu Na everything in every heart Na 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 Etiwa till eternity Obi aramana beshebi Viva Yesu na viva Densu Na everything in every heart Na 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 Atiwa till eternity Atiwa till eternity There was left in eternity.